In the previous chapter, Xuan Xiaoyu was shocked to see a disciple taking Chu Qingcheng and Han Qianying to the main hall. He questioned his father's decision, unaware that sect leader Xuan had his own sinister plans after accepting Zhuo Fan's deal. Let's begin the chapter. What happened to the two from the demon scheming sect? Are they dead yet? Feeling restless, Xuan Xiaoyu grabbed the disciple's shoulder as he asked. The disciple was scared, holding in the pain as he faltered. They and the sect leader were at odds at first. The sect leader gave the order to kill them, but then what? Xuan Xiaoyu stared fixedly at him. Gulping, the guy hesitated. Then the sect leader had us leave. They talked some more, seemingly reaching a conclusion, and then the sect leader had me bring the ladies. Beat it, Xuan Xiaoyu roared, pushing him. His cheek twitched, and his eyes exploded with fury. Reaching a conclusion? What the hell is that old coot doing? Didn't I tell him Zhuo Fan must be killed? Why are they just chatting? The disciple slowly got back to his feet, not even looking the angry young master in the eye. Young master, if that is all, I have to pass the order. Hold it! Xuan Xiaoyu barked, and the guy almost cried in fear. He didn't know how. He was supposed to face such a crazed young master. He feared the young master would explode and kill him. Ever since the Double Dragon gathering, the young master was unnatural, his mood volatile. Many junior brothers had been killed at the slightest whim. It wouldn't be much if this was a demonic sect, but we're a righteous sect here. How can you kill left and right? But since he was the sect leader's son, everyone had no choice but to bear it. The guy spoke on the verge of crying. Young master, how may I help you? I'm coming with you. I want to see what game Zhuo Fan is playing to unsettle the old man. Xuan Xiaoyu clenched his fists as his face twisted in rage. 15 minutes later, the heavy iron door opened with a creak. Xuan Xiaoyu and the disciple were back inside. Chu Qingcheng mocked, "Back already?" Xuan Xiaoyu was vexed. He didn't answer. The disciple walked up. By the sect leader's order, senior sisters Qingcheng and Qianying, please come to the main hall. Why should we? Chu Qingcheng asked back. The disciple shook his head. I don't know. After the sect leader talked with the two disciples from the demon scheming sect, he told me to get... Before he finished, the disciple met disaster in the form of a hard slap. It hit his cheek with so much force that he was bleeding from the mouth and collapsed. You're supposed to relay the order, not run your mouth, Xuan Xiaoyu glared. The disciple was overcome with injustice, but did not voice a word. The girls were overjoyed. Zhuo Fan got sect leader Xuan to get them out. Han Qianying was startled as she muttered in disbelief. The crude Kui Lang knows how to negotiate? It has to be Zhuo Fan. Qingcheng, your man is really something. To make the sect leader yield. Chu Qingcheng smiled. Her pride in Zhuo Fan could not be explained with mere words. Xuan Xiaoyu was annoyed at their faces and was about to blow a gasket. Don't get too happy. You might be going to the main hall just to see Zhuo Fan begging on his knees for my dad's mercy. Give it up, Xuan Xiaoyu snapped. Men, take them. Yes. Someone came over to escort them. Wait. They turned to Shui Ruohua. Can I come to the main hall to see as well? Shui Ruohua spoke. Xuan Xiaoyu squinted, then nodded with a mocking smile. Sure, senior sister Ruohua, you've always looked after me before, but since the punk showed up, you've changed. Were you entranced by him as well? Then I'll bring you along as well, to see who the real winner is between us. Xuan Xiaoyu flicked his hand, and another person came to take Shui Ruohua. Flushing red, Shui Ruohua glanced at Chu Qingcheng, but what she got in reply was a curious look. She had to lower her beet-red face, unable to look straight at her. Xuan Xiaoyu and the three girls strutted over to the main hall. Qianying! Seeing the girls, the restless Kui Lang rushed to his feet, going to the girl he hadn't seen in 20 years to grab her soft face. Han Qianying shook, her own hands gently tracing the aged face as she spoke tenderly. It's been so long, Kui. Lang. Yeah, the child is all grown up. Kui Lang nodded, choked with emotion. Zhuo Fan smiled, and then he looked at Chu Qingcheng, yet was in no rush to go to her. He just gracefully put down the teacup and simply walked to her. I've come to take you. Hold on. Zhuo Fan didn't get to reach her, as Chu Qingcheng stopped him. You came to take me? That's it? Why? Everyone started, not understanding her. Shui Ruohua was the most confused. Didn't she always want to see Zhuo Fan? Why refuse now? Zhuo Fan chuckled. Yeah, I didn't come just to take you. I want to give you a 10 years late answer. Chu Qingcheng's eyes shook as she smiled. Do you still remember the question? Of course I do. Zhuo Fan took a deep breath as he began. I remember you asking me in Drifting Flowers City whether I had any reason to stay for longer. Chu Qingcheng nodded. And I recall you telling me, no. I lied. And for that, I even coughed blood, the reason for the blood you saw. Zhuo Fan's eyes glistened with tears, as if recalling that feeling. Now I want to answer you once more. In the Drifting Flowers City, the only reason I had for wanting to stay was to spend my life in that run-down house, because there I lived with the person I never wanted to leave. Chu Qingcheng's mouth shook, and then widened in a mesmerizing smile. Is this just another lie? Who knows? You'll have the rest of your life to see. Zhuo Fan smiled as he opened his arms. Are you willing to live your life by this? Demon sighed to verify this answer. Chu Qingcheng giggled. Brazen demon, I will watch you all my life to see if you lied. If I find out you did, humph. Chu Qingcheng stomped her feet, then rushed for Zhuo Fan, holding him in a fierce hug. She closed her eyes and listened to his heart, as she muttered. From now on, I will always listen to this sound, to know you. I couldn't be happier. He wrapped his hands around her waist as tenderness was evoked on his features. He took a deep breath, feeling like the whole world was at peace, or maybe that he possessed the entire world. Shui Ruohua watched stunned and sighed in disappointment, yet wished them well. Kuilang was also smiling, happy for him. Only Zhuan Xiaoyu was fuming mad, ready to spew fire like a volcano. Vile demon, I'm not giving junior sister Qingcheng to you. Father, what is this? Why are you giving them to these demons? If word got out, who would respect the mystical heaven sect again? What about me and my illness? Xuan Xiaoyu turned to sect leader Xuan, who started pointing out the reasons to not do this. By giving Chu Qingcheng to Zhuo Fan, how am I supposed to repair my elemental imbalance? I still need her virginity. She can only be my woman. Sect leader Xuan knew all of this, but remained undeterred, because he wanted both his son alive and those stones. Sect leader Xuan spoke. Zhuo Fan, you already have what you wanted. Are you going to honor your promise? What promise? When did I promise you anything? Zhuo Fan mocked, going back on his word on the spot. Sect leader Xuan roared. Zhuo Fan, you dare toy with me? Don't forget, you're in the mystical heaven sect now. And? I got what I wanted anyway, ha ha ha. Zhuo Fan's eyes glinted, his smile devilish. Sect leader. Xuan's face fell. He barked. I knew demonic cultivators weren't to be trusted, but I never believed you had the nerve to go back on your word right in my sect. Go back on my word? Ha ha ha, sect leader Xuan, you're blowing things out of proportion. Zhuo Fan sneered. Speaking of trust, there's nothing of the sort between us. Let's be honest here. Did you really go that far, all the way to Tianyu, to get Qingcheng, just for the Double Dragon gathering? Wasn't it to save your poor excuse of a son? Sect leader Xuan shook as he spoke. Where did you hear that? Zhuo Fan snapped his fingers, and in a flash of blue, the Danner everyone knew appeared. "Danner!" the girls cried. Danner was shocked to appear here, but was happy to go to them. "Sister Ruohua, Ching Ching, I told Zhuo Fan everything. He'll take us out." The girls smiled in joy. Sect leader Xuan knew Zhuo Fan knew everything, and no longer faked it. He stood up, unleashing all his power and his bloodlust. He clearly wanted to rob Zhuo Fan. Zhuo Fan sneered. "Sect leader Xuan, it was you who showed no trust in us. Our deal was never going to work. But now I will give you one last chance. 2,000 sacred stones for Qing Qing and Han Qianying. You now have a choice to make between the future of the sect and your son's life." The people started and turned to sect leader Xuan, waiting for his answer. The girls now understood how Zhuo Fan had convinced their sect leader to get them here. 2,000 sacred stones were very enticing for a sect. No wonder even the sect leader, who was always thinking about his son, was enticed. But when Zhuo Fan only mentioned Chu Qingcheng and Han Qianying, Shui Ruohua was crushed. How did he forget about her? Xuan Xiaoyu stared at his father, soaked in sweat, and waiting for his decision. It couldn't be that his dad was going to forsake him for 2,000 sacred stones, right? "Zhuo Fan," sect leader Xuan squinted as he spoke. "I want the fish, and I also want the bear paw. How will you settle it?" Zhuo Fan stared hard at him. "Isn't it giving up the fish for the bear paw?" "Wrong. It's eating the paw and taking the fish. That's how you have them both." Sect leader Xuan's aura exploded as his bloodthirst spiked, making everyone shiver. The power of an 8th-layer ethereal stage expert caused these radiant stage cultivators to feel like they were under a mountain, suffocating under its pressure. Xuan Xiaoyu was overjoyed. He got his dad's intention to get both Chu Qingcheng and the stones. That meant killing the two. His joy was short-lived, however, as a scarlet fist slammed into his chest. He couldn't even react as the power went through his chest like a sword. He sprayed blood from his mouth as he was sent flying, making a 3-meter-large hole in the wall. The bright sunlight shone from the outside on his bloody figure and glinting off the golden scales of his armor, now dented. Shuddering, Xuan Xiaoyu looked at his original spot with hatred. "Zhuo Fan, a 9th-grade spiritual armor. It must be your lucky day to survive a blow from me," Zhuo Fan said in disdain. Sect leader Xuan went pale. A 30-meter-long red spear appeared behind him and pierced at Zhuo Fan's small build as he roared, "Zhuo Fan, you harmed my son! Die!" At the incoming immense power bearing down on them, Han Qianying paled and wanted to warn Zhuo Fan, but Kui Lang stopped her with a smile. Han Qianying was puzzled. Zhuo Fan looked to be in the radiant stage. Fighting sect leader in his crazed state was a death sentence. However, Kui Lang showed not an ounce of worry. Do they all believe that Zhuo Fan can live after the sect leader's soul attack? She had no way of knowing. All the people here had seen Zhuo Fan's might, and they knew it was out of this world. Sect leader Xuan, you're using power to have your way. Since you wanted this, then I won't hold back. Ha ha ha. Zhuo Fan snorted and looked at the long spear. He squinted, and a dragon roar echoed out as an astonishing light came from his body. Bam! The loud bang grated the other's ears, and the flood of power swept everything, making the main hall erupt, its pieces falling everywhere. The mighty force made the whole sect quake. The elders and venerables were startled and rushed over, while the clueless disciples just watched the main hall in stupefaction. What's going on over there? The ground kept shaking as dust engulfed the skies, covering the bright sun above. The girls held their ears, shaking with the earth as they tried to hold on. When the dust settled, Han Qianying watched in shock. That Qianying. That is proof that Steward Zhuo is the best disciple in the Western lands, a heaven dragon soul like the exalted double dragons. The large scarlet dragon flicked its tail and wrapped the spear tight. It could not budge an inch. Zhuo Fan sneered at the spear, hardly caring about it. Kui Lang watched in pride as he made the introductions to his woman as if the soul was his to begin with. Stumped, Han Qianying now came to and sighed. Junior sister, your man is just like you said. It's my first time seeing a disciple stopping the sect leader's enraged blow. Chu Qingcheng smiled in pride. Kui Lang was also smug. Qianying, Steward Zhuo isn't just a disciple. In the Double Dragon gathering, his strength has got nothing to do with you. Don't talk like his glory is yours. Han Qianying cast her elegant eyes on him and shook her head. You haven't changed after all these years. You still like to brag, I see. Kui Lang gave a bashful smile, looking at Han Qianying with joy and bliss. Sect leader Xuan watched Zhuo Fan's dragon and was shocked. He'd heard from the disciples that had come back that Zhuo Fan was tough, but not this much. He was at the 8th layer ethereal stage, yet Zhuo Fan was only in the 4th layer radiant stage. The gap was more than 10 layers. Even with the heaven dragon soul, there was a limit to how much one could bridge it. Yet his ever-trusted long spear could not even touch Zhuo Fan, trapped by that scarlet dragon. It was so strong, it even overwhelmed an expert like him. Zhuo Fan saw through his shock. Sect leader Xuan, I might be of lower cultivation, but my soul formed when I entered the radiant stage. In other words, my soul is like a 4th layer. Ethereal stage soul. Not to mention it's the strongest there is, the heaven dragon soul. You'll have to try harder if you want to take my life, ha ha ha. Sect leader. Xuan was outraged and his fists clenched. This is a blatant taunt. Never in his life had he been taunted by such a young radiant stage expert. What made it worse was that the taunt was irrefutable. Looking at the trapped long spear, sect leader Xuan grew angrier. On his turf, he was the one that looked bad. His son was smashed, and he couldn't do anything about it. He felt he had no face left. Whoosh! Sect leader Xuan shook and recalled the long spear. His eyes were fixed on Zhuo Fan, glinting coldly. Zhuo Fan, you really are the best disciple you showed at the Double Dragon gathering, but don't think for a second you can go where you want in the Western lands. You're not the best yet. Here is the mystical heaven sect, not your backyard. Sect leader Xuan roared, and tens of figures littered the sky.